Alright, this is angel dust. Angel dust is literally angeling and blowing on it. Boom! I had the camera in my way, so that was ultra impressive. Not that you can tell, just look normal. But this is how you do it. You're going to angel the card, not quite in the center of the card, but just below center. So about there. Boom, angel. You're going to blow very sharply and quickly, meaning that like you blow and then you stop blowing. It's not like it's just super quick, sharp blow. You want to blow also not at the card like this way, but you want to aim down. You want to aim for like your thumb. Imagine that there's like a V created by the card and the thumb, and you want to blow in that corner right there. So it's a very quick and sharp blow. That was a little bit more of a twist. You want it to get just like this, end over end. There you go. And yeah, that is angel dust. It's very simple, and eventually, hopefully, you'll get it on the deck. And that is angel dust.
When I first met you, you treated me so nice.
Okay, this is the black belt cut. I want to give a thank you and a shout out to Daniel Lin, who showed me this concept that this flourish is based off of basically using two cards contacted at different finger positions on both hands so that you can pass them between each other. It gives like a sliding glass door kind of feel. It's awesome. So thank you to Daniel Lin for showing me that. This flourish would not be possible without me seeing that. So this flourish uses that same concept but with packets and in the middle of a packet cut. And you get a few twists in there as well. Boom, Shazam. So you're going to start off by holding the deck in mechanics grip, getting your thumb at this corner, lifting up a packet of 6 or 7 cards, and then your index finger is going to contact this corner here. Your thumb is going to contact this back corner most towards you. Pick up another packet of 6 or 7 cards, and you're going to lift the deck with your middle finger pinching the deck. You're going to lift it up and on top of this packet between the left thumb and right index finger. So you're going to pull the deck down, and by pulling the deck down, it's going to twist this packet here just like that. And then if you keep pulling it down, it should twist this packet here just like this. And then if you take your middle fingers and push on both sides of the packets, you've now rotated them 180 degrees. So now you're going to extend your thumbs like so, and you're going to curl this index finger, and you get the first display. Then you're going to extend your index fingers, so basically doing the motion so that the cards slide the other way. And typically the packets are not straight, so I use my middle finger of the right hand to just kind of keep this top packet straight, or as straight as it can be. So then once I've passed to here, we're going to get those middle fingers to flip both packets once again. And now you're just going to pinch with the right hand pinch with the left hand. So one more time from the top. Break off 6 or 7 cards. Break off another packet. Bring the deck above both packets. Swivel them. Middle fingers help out. We get this first display. Middle finger of this hand helps that packet stay straight. We're going to flip both the packets. And now we're going to pinch with the right hand. Pinch with the left hand. And now this top packet is going to come over to the left side. So you're going to try and isolate that packet that's here and move the top packet over and to the side. And at the same time as you do that, the deck here is going to just flop over to this position. So in one motion, it's from this pinched position in the left hand to here. So now you've got almost a box with this on the side, this packet as the top, and the rest of the deck as the right panel. And once you have this box, you're going to try and keep the box formed, and lower the top packet down to the bottom. So you get this kind of descending elevator kind of look. Boom. Goes down. Then you're going to drop the rest of the deck on top. So now you've just got this top packet between your index finger and thumb. And now you're going to use your middle finger to contact the side of the packet, and you're going to flip it, rotate the packet as you flip it end for end. So I'm both turning the packet and flipping it end for end. I'm going to use the front of the deck to contact the packet, flipping it all the way to the bottom, and I'm just going to pinch this deck with my ring finger, and then as I get closer, I'm just going to remove the ring finger so it goes all the way to the bottom. I've heard that this ending has actually already been done by Tobias, so credits to Tobias, but I have not seen it, and I came up with this on my own, so yeah, okay. Here we go. There's the first part. Pinchy, pinchy. We create this box. This comes down. I'm going to let this drop on top. Then this packet gets rotated around the front of the deck. And it's over. So, one more time. Packet. Packet. Deck comes out. Swivels both of these. Middle fingers help out. Keep that king of spades straight. Flip. Pinch. Pinch. This comes down. Flops on top. This goes around the front edge. And that's the black belt cut. Thank you again to Daniel Lynn, and credits to Tobias, I think.
BX to BK, Berg out to Marcy. What you know about this?
Alright, this is the explanation for bow. It is pronounced as the great Waka Flocka Flame pronounces it. You're going to pinch the packet between your index finger and thumb and bend them just a little bit. And the pads of each finger are going to peel off one card for each finger. So just the pads are contacting the card. You're not picking the card off, you're just sliding it, almost buckling it to the side. So once you're here, you can let go of the bend on the cards, and so now your fingers are kind of contacting the edges or ends of the cards. And you're going to put your fingers together, clasp them, and what should happen when you clasp them together is that they go in between every other card, with the exception of the top one. So now my fingers are pinching the corners of the card and they are going between each card. So now my thumb goes to this edge and basically lines up the ends of all the cards. And now all I have to do is push my fingers together . Oh yeah! Boom! And we get a bow. And that's it. Super simple. It's actually harder to do slowly than it is to do really fast and awesomely. But just line everything up and pinch. And you get this dope little X cross thing. So then if you do this in both hands, pow! You get both. Thank you.
Last to last, nigga, maintain a stash, nigga. Violent, you will never equal away by straight. This right, motherfucker, get your shit. We the type to hold it down for y'all, put it down for y'all. Go to clubs, tear it down for y'all. Violate, then we pounding y'all. Spit rounds at y'all, my whole squad hold it down for y'all. We the type to hold it down for y'all, put it down for y'all. Go to clubs, tear it down for y'all. Violate, then we pounding y'all. Spit rounds at y'all, my whole squad hold it down for y'all. You think there's something sweet, nigga? We run these streets on the gates, we keep Heath hustling with no sleep. Same clothes the whole week. Mad dope, bust out the next week. Jeweled out, new Eve, blowing trees. Told shorty here, hold these. It's the last time you ever see thugs like these. You sure took a mouthful, nigga. So swallow the barrel of this rifle for the shit you pull, nigga. Get my thug on, in the P-long, hustled on. Blocks that you wouldn't be caught dead on. This is where the dough at, slow stack. Can't comprehend that, my shit sell beyond that. And beyond that, watch when P hit me off with these bricks. I'm sure y'all niggas will be on my dick. One in the floors and the six.
This is Growlix. It looks like this, one time from the back. This is Growlix. Looks like this, one time from the behind the scenes view. Beautiful. So Growlix is based off, or I guess starts off with Around the Block by Dimitri. It's one of my favorite flourishes, and I'm so surprised that more people have not taken the time to learn it, because it's so cool. I don't know why I love this flourish so much, but just a packet going 360 degrees around a fixed point, like around the side of the deck. I think it's such a good flourish. So you can learn that on Dimitri's Monument on Theory 11. It's really dope. So Around the Block starts you off, and you end up in this position, kind of gripping the deck with the ring finger on this bottom right corner, middle finger's on the side, and the the first finger is just around this front edge, curled over. So if you don't know Around the Block, you can just start off by getting in that position. Just placing your hand there, and then pushing off a packet. And you're pretty much in the exact same position. So you're going to push this packet off the deck, pivoting around the index finger, and drop it into your hand. So that's step one. So then two things are going to happen at once. First, the right hand is going to break off this bottom packet, swivel it around on top, and then your middle finger is going to bring it back and then flop it over. So at the same time as this is happening, your left hand is going to take its packet and rotate it around the knuckle of your thumb, your right hand thumb. It's going to mirror the other packet by dropping onto your index finger before the other packet drops. And yeah, it's pretty much there for flair, honestly. It doesn't do much, it just kind of like comes around and mirrors the other packet, which gets you this nice symmetrical position right here. Kind of looks like a TIE fighter. The packets move opposite directions and then they mirror each other one more time. So once again, around the block, plop off a packet. The right hand breaks off that bottom packet with the ring finger, and it's going to be slid around the side of this packet right here. It's going to come around the side, and then the middle finger is going to reach over and grab it further, and then it will eventually flop on top. So one more time. Breaks off, ring finger kind of pushes it over the packet, over the side, as the thumb just holds the packet there. The index finger pulls it in a little bit, it's helping to get it over, and then the middle finger pushes back. So one more time, for clarity's sake. Boom. Boom. Then from here, the packet in the left hand is going to swivel another 180 as the right hand packet gets pushed back, comes up, then the front hand packet goes over, then this packet falls, then this hand turns this entire packet around, flips it. It's going to land a little unsquare, so you square it up. And that's it. So one more time, around the block, push this packet off, this hand does its thing. As this hand turns over and does its thing, then you plop these over, and you're done. So once more all together. And that's that. And one more time. Boom. That's it.
American carnival begins. Ooh, the rhythm of
Alright, let's learn Judo Drip. This is a nice one-card flourish that you do after Judo Flip, or not. You can also just do it on its own, up to you. So it starts out by being in this position when you've just finished Judo Flip, and your thumb is going to reach over really far onto this top card, like as far as it can go, and it's going to pop that top card off the deck over to the left. The whole deck is being pinched only by your pinky, and two things are going to happen. The first thing is that your thumb is going to stay contacting that card throughout the entire flourish. It's not going to leave that card. So wherever you hit here, wherever you pinch on that card, your finger will not leave that position. So that's why it's important to pinch as far over as you can, because if you just pinch it here and you stay on that position, when you get to here, it's not far down the card enough for it to fall. It will get stuck, basically. That's what I'm saying. And this is one of the biggest drawbacks of this move, is getting stuck here. Happens a lot when you're first learning it. But you will prevail. Prevail. The second thing that you need to know is that the deck will move from this position to this position. Specifically the weight of the deck. So right now the deck is being mostly held in this crotch with my pinky and my ring finger. Once it gets to here, you'll notice the weight is going to shift from those two fingers to these two fingers, the index and the middle. So from this corner and these two fingers to this corner. So you got to get comfortable with shifting the deck without it really being in any grip, just kind of sitting there. And this happens again while your thumb is just completely contacting that card the whole time. So you reach around, you pinch, you pull that card around the edge of the deck. It's being pinched right here, and you're going to pull it, drag it along with your thumb, and once you get to here, it's less dragging the card along and more letting the deck switch its weight and finger positions. And then once it's here, you've got this opening out the back to keep pushing the card up and then over. And the deck is going to land in between the index finger and the middle finger. And then yeah, you just close it. So one more time, you're in this position, you're going to pull off one card, it's going to continue contacting the back as the deck shifts position, and it plops back on top. So like that. Bam. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's Judo Drip. Alright, this is King Charming. So this is based on Oliver's Prince Charming, which I do wrong and incorrectly because I never learned it fully. So Prince Charming is just on this corner, and you use your wrist to flick it out, and then you pull it back in very eloquently. It's by Oliver Sogard, I'm sure you know it. So Oliver showed me this move, I loved it, and I came up with this King Charming. His goes 180 and mine goes 360, so mine is better. They're not. They're totally equally awesome. But that's not the point. Point is that Oliver's is the corner of the card that is contacted by the thumb. It rotates on this corner, then it comes back diagonally. So with mine, I take the F, or the middle of the card, and I drag that to the corner of the deck. So the middle of the card is the pivot point, rather than the corner of the card. So I've dragged the middle to the corner. So once it's at the corner, I try my best not to flick my wrist that much. I think it looks way cooler if it's just the card moving without the wrist. Because the thumb basically pushes around the pivot point, and by doing so, it swivels the card around. So this corner here passes through my thumb crotch and ends up here. So the card goes around 270. So, like this. So once again, you're just pulling that card to the corner, the middle of the card to the corner, and swiveling it around. So once you get to here, you're going to contact the card with your index finger and pinch it with the tip. So you're just pinching this card here, and now I can move my thumb. So now I'm going to tilt my hand so that the weight of this card will bring itself down onto the deck. So once I'm here, I pinch, I tilt my hand, and now all I have to do is slide my thumb out of the way, and it should land perfectly on the deck. So once again, I swivel it around, I pinch slightly, and I let it go back onto the deck. So covertly covering that card I dropped. Boom. And yeah, that is King Charming. Now that you've learned King Charming, you should be able to easily get King Slinger. Now this is based off of both King Charming and my friend Benji's move, Gunslinger, which I cannot do very well. It's basically the first part of bullet and then swinging it around. Now Benji does this really slick maneuver with his fingers so that it kind of pops up onto the deck, and it's much faster than mine. You can learn it for free on the Wire, I believe, still. Anyway, shouts out to Benji, young Benji Taylor out of UK. He's gonna be a millionaire. Anyway, so you get to here, you're going to do this first half of bullet, or BRRRRT, whatever it's called, here, and you're just going to pinch, same way we do in King Charming, and just pull it down. So now you're in this position. Now my middle finger is extended because I'm going to swing this card around just by pinching lightly with my index finger, and the card is just going to pivot around, and my middle finger has to get out of the way. So once it gets to this corner, my middle finger is going to contact the card, and both the middle and the index are just going to extend. So the fingers extend, and the card plops on top. Shit! So close! Okay, so yeah. Now you can kind of use gravity to help you by swinging that card around, or I guess it's not gravity, it's more like centrifugal force. Anyway, you can swing the card around, or you can also just try and keep your hand moderately still, and you can still swivel the card around and onto the top of the deck. It's really up to you. I've done this really lightly and it looks nice, and I've done it very big and with flair, and that looks nice too. So it's really just up to you and your performance style. And then if you want to add a element of miming in there, it looks a lot cooler to add a string. A string makes everything look so much cooler. And yeah, this is just kind of practicing in front of a mirror. Just pretend there's a string between you and the card and try your best to follow it. And match your actions as best as you can. And yeah, this string concept actually works with a ton of stuff. It works with judo drip, just by pinching and letting go. It also works with curly cue. It also works not as a string, but just like this kind of card conducting thing you can do. I think it adds a lot of like clarity to what you're doing, and it also makes it more like theatrical, and it's more like you're putting on a show, which I think is dope. So anyway, that is Kingslinger and some string conducting ideas. Hope you enjoy. Alright, isolations. Everything you need to know, or at least everything that I know, which actually might not be a whole lot, but I know some, so I'm going to tell you what I know. Isolations, I first saw my friend Frankie Morales do. I watched Frankie's tutorial on The Wire that was just titled Isolations, and it had like a bunch of isolations in it. So I've asked Frankie, like, who was the originator of isolations, and I don't know. Frankie doesn't know either. It was a bunch of different people on Tiny Chat who were playing around with it and developing it at the same time. Frankie and a bunch of other people. I also know Jaspis is a huge influence in getting it popular. He was one of the first people I saw doing isolations. Frankie was the first person I saw doing them really, really well. And Hector also does them really well as well. So I got inspired by seeing Frankie do it. I did not learn it from Frankie, I just started doing it and emulating what he did, and eventually started finding my own way of doing it and my own style and routining, and found some improvements on some of the older ways that people have been doing these. So I wish I could credit someone specifically, but I really have no clue. I don't think there's one person who's like completely invented this. It's just a bunch of people, a bunch of, you know, progressing of the move, and yeah. Another thing that sucks is there's no name for this. I asked Frankie and tons of other people, and it's like, oh, that's a card isolation. So, you know what? I'm gonna name it. I'm not claiming to have invented these things. The push isolation and the turn isolation, I did not invent these. These are previously existing flourishes, and credit to anyone who has been an influence in them being so popular now. So yeah, let's get into it. So I'm gonna name this one Push ISO. This is what I've been writing in my notebooks for the past year. And this one, Turn ISO. The last ISO, which I actually did come up with, is this one, which I will call the Reset. So floating cards in its entirety is just 3 moves. Push, turn, and reset. And sometimes double reset, which I used to call inchworm, but I don't know. We'll just call it double reset. So boom, boom. So to learn these, it's pretty simple. Grab yourself a card, put it in this position, and you're going to pinch it with only your pinky. Move your other fingers out of the way and slide it with your thumb as best you can. And then do it again, and do it again, and do it again, and then go buy a mirror. Because if you don't do this in front of the mirror, it's kind of pointless. I practiced this for a long time without a mirror or a video camera. It's just like, it's like saying 2 + 2 is 5, 2 + 2 is 5. It does you nothing. So you want to practice this, if you're going to, in front of a mirror. Because the card has to stay still, and with you just looking at the back of it, your hand is covering it, and without experience, you're just gonna think it looks great, and it's gonna not look good at all. So it's literally just pushing into your pinky. The other fingers are just kind of on top of the card. They're brushing the card, but they're not really aiding in it staying up, and you're pushing it all the way to the pinky anyway, so why would you transfer from like this grip to this grip? Just push it into the pinky. And of course you want to isolate the card. So pretend like the card is frozen in space and your hand is moving around it. This is why the mirror or the video camera really comes in handy, because you can see that card and what it looks like in relation to your body, and you can see how these tiny little screw-ups really make all the difference. You need this card to be still, and the isolation just won't look like an isolation if it's slightly fidgeting, or if the card just changes planes even slightly. Like if it tilts just a little bit, it can ruin it. So you have to make sure the card is still, and it's just a lot of practicing in the mirror. It's also really important to get your hard stops. Completely stop when you get to here. Don't fidget, don't do anything else, just pause and then continue. So this is called dime stop in dancing, or dime stops. Hawk taught me this a while ago, and it completely changed my whole world. This just looks so much better to stop it, just even if it's for a half second before you keep going. Those stops need to be stops. You need to literally stop 100%. So originally when I learned this from Hawk, he just taught me to hold my arm out and stop and stop and stop and stop as best you can, to completely stop and not have any wiggle, just stop. And you can learn more from Hawk in the dime stop and isolation segment from him. But you want to get that down. Make a conscious effort to fully pause for at least half a second, and then continue, and then continue, and fully stop, and fully stop, and fully stop. There you go. So this is just the push isolation. Next we will get into the reset. So once you get to here, your thumb is going to be on the edge of the card. What you want to do is push it or I guess maneuver it underneath that card. And you want to put it directly behind the F if you're using Fontaine's, which you should be, the middle of the card. Then your ring finger is going to reach down and contact this lower corner of the card. So thumb is behind the card and the ring and pinky are on the back of the card, like this. So now your thumb is just going to press slightly, not very hard, just slightly, the nail of the thumb, and the pinky is going to extend as the ring finger curls in. And that is the reset, just that. It's very important that your thumb is underneath that F or in the direct middle of the card, because if the thumb is not in between the pinky and the ring finger, it can't be a pivot point. The card is pivoting around the thumb. So the card has to be in the just right position, and the thumb has to be directly in between these two fingers. Thumb does not move, the fingers extend and curl. So the thumb stays in place, ring finger curls in as the pinky extends. So from this position to this position. And now I can re-grip the card and do the isolation again. And reset and do it again. And reset and do it again. And it's important to know that this move, just the reset, can be done a million different ways just by where you place your hand. So let's say we push the card to here. I can do the reset and it just comes over to the left. But I can do that same exact reset and move my hand down diagonally, and now it looks like the card has gone down these stairs, right? If I do it the same way diagonally to the left, it looks like it's almost coming underneath something. If I imagine a point right here, and I imagine the card is going around this point, I can isolate just that point in space and move the card around it. So once you realize that it's really the hand moving the card around certain isolated points that makes the floating cards video look cool, your imagination kind of unlocks and you're like, oh crap, at least for me, holy crap, there's a million different paths for this card to go. It can go anywhere. This card can go anywhere you want. You just have to do these very small, minor moves like turning the card, pushing the card, or resetting it, tying those with moving it around, locking your hand into the position, and fully stopping. And then you get what came out in floating cards, which ended up being pretty cool. No one had seen it before. So it's just combining a lot of elements that have already been around, isolations, dance, popping, and a lot of time in the mirror, and eventually you will be creating your own routines, and it's actually super, super fun. I think isolations are one of the most fun types of cardistry, my favorite right now, because you can just kind of, once you know these basic moves, you can start crafting this whole show, and it's really cool. So you know the push ISO, you know the reset, boom. Now we will go over the turn. So I think the turn is the hardest one. This took me the longest, and in my left hand I'm still a little sucky at it. There's one YouTube comment on floating cards that's like, his left hand is clearly worse, and I was like, ugh, should have waited one more month, but I was too impatient. Don't be like me, practice more. So basically you just want to put your thumb in the middle, same way you do the reset ISO, and have your first finger extended and your middle finger curled. All you have to do, curl the index, extend the middle. Curl the middle, extend the index. And you should, with just 2 fingers, get 180 degrees. This is very hard to do at first, but this is essential, because if you can do it 180 degrees with 2 fingers, then you can get your middle finger in there and you can go 360 degrees. With only 3 fingers, boom, boom, boom. And then once you get that looking smooth, you can, you know, pretend like you're going down a ladder. You can do a lot of stuff, you know. Obviously the options are pretty much limitless. So once you can do this, you can then isolate the card and move your hand around it. So again, just putting that thumb right in the middle, making sure my index finger and middle finger are on 2 sides of it, because if my middle finger is up here, well then the card it's not going to work, right? This is the most common mistake I see people making. It's just like the finger placement's all off, and if your thumb is not in the middle, it's like, yeah, it's going to be really hard, of course. So you got to make sure you understand what's happening. Like, the card is pivoting because the thumb is there, and because the middle finger and the index finger are just rotating around the thumb. So if you get the finger placement right and you just try and feel out what's going on, eventually, over not that long, you will totally get it. And then isolate the card, and you can move the hand around the card. And then take your hand, move it all the way this way so that the card is upright, and you can isolate 360 degrees around the card. So as you can see, like, these are little building blocks, and once we start mastering them and putting them together, it becomes really easy to just make an awesome dope routine. So right now we've got our push ISO, we can get our reset, push ISO again, we can reset and do reset again with the other 2 fingers. So it's basically the same thing, just instead of using the ring finger and pinky, we're using the index finger and the middle. So pretty much your standard flipping, just done in succession to the first reset. So boom, push, reset, reset, push. Now I'm going to imagine there's a point here, and I'm going to isolate around that point. Imagine there's like a wall. I can really pop into that position. Full dime stop. I can then push again. Do my boom, boom, double reset. Now I'm going to swing this card around to here. As I come up, I'm going to do that turn isolation. So it almost looks like a pendulum, or like a Ferris wheel cart of sorts. Boom. Once it hits this halfway point, I'm going to stop moving the card with my fingers and keep moving it all the way around. So it goes like boom. I do my 360 degree ISO, which is literally just 1, 2, but isolating the card. Boom. I slide my hand down. I flick this card all the way around, and that's when my left hand comes up with its card just behind it, and I do double push. Just push in each hand, trying to line the 2 cards up together. Remember, you're doing this in front of a mirror, so mirror will make it a lot better. So now I'm going to reset in both hands. 1, 2, push, push, reset, reset, push at the same time. Now I'm going to do the reset move while also turning my whole hand over. I'm going to do the reset move in this hand while turning my hand over in my left hand, while the right hand does its turn isolation. Then I'm going to do the turn isolation in both hands. Now I'm going to just pull my wrists down so that these cards are changing their corners. And now push with both hands, reset, 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 turn both the cards. Now I'm going to do the turn with the 2 of clubs as I do the turn ISO with the Queen of Hearts. So that looks like this. Then I do the same thing with the other hand, turning the Queen while turning the hand around the 2. Boom, boom, boom. And that is it. That's floating cards. It's super simple. It's just 3 moves done a bunch of different ways in 1 minute. And yeah, if I can do that with 3 moves, imagine what you can do with creating your own ISOs and adding the gravity ISO, etc., etc. That's isolation. This is Peekaboo. We're going to start off by doing Peekaboo with just 2 cards, which looks like this. Boom. You can also do the exact same thing without the hand turning. Looks like that. And this is how you do it. You're going to start off with 2 cards, obviously. You're going to turn your hand 180 degrees so that the card is upside down, and you want to make sure that your hand, once it's upside down, is fully tilted forward. When I first started learning this, I realized when I recorded myself that when I turned my hand over like this, I was actually tilting the card like way too much towards the ceiling, and it's an awkward position to have your hand here, so you just naturally kind of lift it up. You want to avoid that. Try and do this in the mirror and get this like as straight on as you can be. So once you're here, you're going to push with your thumb and slide that card to the right as you move your hand to isolate the card. So this is what's happening, and you're going to do your isolationness to isolate that ace of spades. So once you've pushed it out, you're going to take your thumb, pinch it, and you're basically going to roll this card. Kind of cool that a square object or rectangular object can roll, but that's literally what it's doing. It is being pushed. This corner is going to flip this way, then the other corner is going to contact your index finger, and you keep pushing, so it rolls 180 degrees. So once again, we're here, turn, isolate that card, and I'm going to just push it against my fingers. My index finger kind of moves up to this corner so I can keep pushing it, and boom, I'm now completely parallel to that other card. So I push it out, I'm going to do that rolling and isolate the card. So same exact action as this, only I'm isolating the ace of spades by turning the whole hand as I roll that card. And that gives the illusion that the other card is twisting around it, which it is, actually. So, boom. Now all that's left is to just pull this card in. But don't just do that, you gotta isolate it. So you put your card in front of it, and yeah. And then if you want, from here, you can keep pushing it out and coming to it. So you push the ace out and you come to it. Push it out, get to it, push it out, get to it, push it out, get to it. You can go in any direction with that too. It's just a fun thing you can do to like complete the flourish, or like go into something else maybe. So you can either isolate that ace of spades, or you can just do the flourish without turning the hand, and that looks cool too. Just depends on what you want, what effect you want it to have on your audience. And to do it with 3 cards, it's pretty similar, only instead of pushing off 1 card, you're going to push off a 2-card block. So just 2 cards here. It's pretty much the same thing, and I don't think any more difficult to just push 2. 1 card, the 6 of diamonds slides off pretty individually. It gets a little trickier when you have to rotate or roll the king of diamonds card. Basically, you want your pinky to contact the back of that other card, so that when you rotate it, this card stays roughly in the same place. So you push 2 off, you're going to pinch with the back of your hand, of like these knuckles are going to pinch against that 2-card double, so that when you roll this off, this card just stays there. Boom. And now, it should be about here, you're going to pull this card in, you're going to re-grip just slightly, so your thumb is now going to leave its king of clubs card, come back around to this position, and you're just going to roll this card over and do the same thing. So it's pretty much just allowing you to do the move twice now that you have 2 cards, or sorry, 3 cards. And if you want, you can isolate it by turning the entire hand around as well. Just depends on what you want to do. So once again, push off 2, pinch tight, pull this card off, isolate and cover. Gonna re-grip with the thumb. First finger goes out again to accommodate for the roll, and then whoop-pow, done. And that is peekaboo. Alright, this is card portals. This is a old concept used by magicians and people fooling around with cards. I first saw it done like this by Kevin Ho. I don't think he came up with that, but he is the one who showed that to me, and it blew my mind, and I instantly was like, oh my god, there's so much here that can be played with, and it's very stupid, but it's also awesome. Hector has come up with a couple really dope ones that you can check out in his sponsored Cardist video, and I believe that there's several other people who have come up with card portal ideas on Tiny Chat and the like, so shout out to you if that's you who's watching this right now. The ideas that I've come up with pretty much all revolve around this position, which is basically one card pinched between your pinky and thumb at the very base of your hand, like as far as you can go. It can't go any further. And then the other card held by the tips of the thumb and pinky. And now what you've done is created like this great little, almost like a performance stage for your fingers. So if you put a finger in here, you can put your index finger out here, right? Boom. If you put two fingers in, you can extend two fingers, 3 fingers, 3 fingers. You can put in 1 finger, 2, 3, or you can go like that, or something the finger tutters came up with. You can put in 1 finger here, and then just slide your hand down and alternate the fingers that are coming out on the other side, and it almost looks like it's like traveling. Kind of cool. Boom. You can do so much stuff. You can insert your fingers face up and extend them just over here. You can put them in, put them out, really doesn't matter. You can insert one, then insert one extended. So one here, one here, one here, which doesn't make much logical sense, but damn, it looks cool. You extend with this hand and just like curl all the fingers behind the card, and it looks so cool. Just like, or you can go. You can also alternate these, but that's much harder. Oh, boom, 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 boom. Oh, so hard. You get the idea. And yeah, just play around with this. Like, come up with your own stuff. And I showed this card portal concept and the stuff that I had come up with it to Peanut, and instantly he came up with what he does in the video, which is amazing. Like, so good and clever. And he's just holding the card like this, I think, and he's just like literally just pushing his finger out like boop boop. Oh, so clever. Dude is a genius. Him and C-Tut were blowing our mind with just, oh, we're not cardists, but we're gonna come up with better stuff than you guys. It was awesome and very humbling. So once again, it's this position, and you can do whatever the hell you want. Another fun thing is to move from this kind of crotch position or belly position to this face position where they're looking at your face. And you insert your finger, but as you do so, you're going to curl your finger in, and then you can pull it down. So from the front, there's just 1 finger coming out. Pull it down, and then at the same time as you remove your hand and extend your finger, you just insert the other finger. I mean, this really doesn't even need a tutorial. It's just like super fun and stupid and obvious. And then boom and boom. And yeah, you can also like stretch your finger like really long and move it around. There's so much that you can do. So play around with it. I hope you enjoy it and come up with some card portals. Okay, this is the explanation for Bloom 2. Starts out the same way by doing a anti-pharaoh. That was garbage. Let's try again. Sure, I'll take it. Doesn't have to be perfect to do Bloom. You're going to do the same thing as Bloom in Bloom 2. You're just going to pinch by the very, very tips of your fingers. Same exact thing. And hold with your index finger on this side. You're going to let go of the pressure. Very slowly. As slow as you can. And that's it. That's literally the whole flourish. I'm so sorry that this is another just super knacky move. It's kind of a bitch, but some people get it. Some people it just takes longer. I'm sorry. Just very, very tips, super tight grip, and slowly release the pressure. And feel it out. I'm so sorry that it's like so knacky, but it really is just feeling it out, like playing around with it, releasing the pressure very slowly. If a big gap opens, like tightening your pressure. If they're opening slowly, you know, release your pressure a little bit more. It's just feeling around. I wish there was like a secret trick I could tell you, but there's not. It's just open, like release the pressure, and yeah, hope it works. I do find that it's a little bit both releasing the pressure and also pinching down, like taking the two fingers and pinching around the cards. I hope that makes sense. Like coming around these corners, so you're going less from like pinching more to like balancing the fan. But in all honesty, it's just playing around with it. So once you've bloomed, boom, we're in this position. We're going to lay this down flat on our hand, and I'm going to lift my thumb that's pinching this fan. I'm just going to lift it up a bit, like I roll it up just a bit, and that will release all of the outjogged cards. So none of those outjogged cards are now touching my thumb. They've all fallen onto the flat of my left hand. So now all I have to do is pinch and lift up, and more or less, roughly half of the spread remains in my hand. That was a little harder to do because I'm teaching it to you, but I will try it one more time. We get the bloom going. Kapow, I'll take it. We lay it flat. Thumb rolls up just a bit, and now sometimes you do have to give it just a little bit of shake to let all the cards fall out, and then you lift up. Oh, and you're bloom 2, and man, that's bloom 2. I don't have a closer, I'm sorry. Currently I just place it back and kind of use my first finger to scoop around and then just kind of mush the deck back together. It's not pretty. If you come up with a closer, please tag me on Instagram. I would love to see a dope closer for this. I just don't have one. Sorry. So once again, perfect anti-pharaoh, more or less. You do bloom, let it kind of just open up, lay it down on the flat of your hand, and shazam. Yeah, an idea that Dimitri came up with that would be awesome if you could do it is to, once you've done this, to then come back to this position and put all of those outjogged cards against the right thumb, like push them against, and then come over the top and do like a second bloom on top of your thumb. Just an idea. I don't think either of us have ever done it, but hey, if you can do that, I will repost it. So do that. Do that. Alright, this is the tutorial for Deck Drop. Pretty generic name, sorry about that. Too many moves, can't name all of them. So you're going to start off by balancing the deck like this. This is a, I guess, deck stall. I learned this from Frankie Morales. I'm not sure if Frankie came up with it, but Frankie's dope, so let's credit Frankie. I do it a little bit differently. Frankie, I believe, puts his pinky just like right here to balance the deck. But in order to do this flourish, you have to have it right in the center. So you push really hard, you can turn your hand, and all the cards should fall off, except for the card that's still sticking to your finger. And it's not just angled to the finger, it is also being pushed against these fingers by the pinky. So this deck comes off, and the card just stays there. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to retract these two fingers and leave my index finger there, still contacting the card. And as my hand turns around, once I get to here, I'm going to flick my finger up. I'm going to flick up like this with my finger as I curl it in. Without the card in the deck, it looks something like that. Because it's still sticking to your finger, you can actually get some pivoting off of the index finger. So it's going to push this up enough so that it goes to here, and then you can either grab it with your thumb or grab it with your middle finger. Either way, it looks super cool. Just looks like the card like magnetically sticks to your finger, but just for a second until you like grab it. So once again, press really hard, balance, catch the deck, and swivel it up. One more time. Boom! Shazam! And that is Deck Drop. Enjoy! Alright, so this is how you make an Isollusion card. This is just one of many Isollution cards that you can make. I'm not going to teach you all the ones that I featured in the Cardistry High video. However, I will show you how to make the growing F card, the Fontaine that like splits into two. Pretty cool stuff, man. So you're gonna start off by basically cutting half the card off. So cut off half the card except for the F's, and you're going to cut around the white F's. So basically cut out all of the blank space or the black space underneath the F's. Fuck! And don't do that. Try your best not to cut off the little sides of the F. I have done this so many times, and I'm not sure how I forgot it again this time, but it's a good lesson. Be careful. Try not to cut the sides off. So you don't have to do this super exactly. You could use an X-Acto knife, but I really don't think it matters. Like, one of these gimmicks has been sitting inside my wallet for like 2 months, and it is battered and gross, and people don't see the slit. Like, the slit is so well hidden just by the design of the cards that it really doesn't matter. And also, this is not like trying to be a real magic trick. It's just like, oh, a cool thing that happens during your isolations. You're not like handing this out for examination or anything. It's just a fun, cool thing. So, boom, we cut that off. This little top bit is probably the most difficult part, just because it's very easy to just clip that little guy off. And boom, beautiful. Gonna cut here, snip, cut here, snip, boom. Sweet, cut that off. Cut a little incision here. And cut there. Beautiful. Sweet. And cut off any little excess marks. And there you have it. That is basically what you want to end up with. A card like this. Then you want some tape. I like to use packing tape because if you use just regular like magic scotch tape, it's just not very strong and reliant. This stuff is like so heavy duty and will last you forever. Cut off these little edges so it's clean. Then you're going to take your tape and place it on the face or against the face of the card. And you're going to bend it back towards you and pinch, crease that tape. You want like a good fold in the tape so that it doesn't come undone and you don't want it to. Great. So that is creased, and make sure there's no excess tape popping out of the top, and that looks good. Take some more tape, put the same thing on the other side. Boom. And crease that as well. Great, so now you should have something that looks like this. So now you're going to take another card. It doesn't have to be a duplicate. This is actually just a coincidence that this is a duplicate. And you're going to pinch the tape around the card and line it up as best as you can. So once you have it lined up, you're going to take another card in Fiddle Grip and place it over the front edge of the card. Line it up like just as exactly as you can, and then just press it against. Boom. And now one side of the card is done. Take the card that is free in between and just peel it back just a little bit, and peel this all the way around, same way you did before with the other side. Line everything up and pinch it together. And crease everything and make sure it's all nice and good. And there you have it. You now have your own Fontaine growing card. What? Crazy! So with this gimmick I've just made, it's a little bit loose. You want to make it so that it is tight and snug. So I'll probably retape this after I'm done with this video. It takes a couple times to just place it just right and make sure it is the right tautness. It took me about 3 or 4 times making this to make a perfect one. So, you know, don't be afraid to screw it up. The final version that you make is going to be dope. So then one last thing that you want to do with this is you want to take the side that has the half card and you want to cut a tiny slit, a track basically, for your thumb. So basically like that. And then you want to round off these corners just like this and like this, And now, when you place a fontaine in here, you have this nice little thumb track that you can just push the card. And then, boom, voila, look how magical that looks. Super easy. So now you can do basically all the ISO stuff you want. And then, whenever you're ready, pow. And then you can literally just pull it apart and then keep isolating this one, or you can keep it inside of here, and you can, you know, manipulate a square, which is pretty cool. And one of my favorite ones is you can place it like this and actually slide it through the card lengthwise by just holding it and then doing your push isolation. Boom. And I'm sure there's tons of other things that you guys can come up with using this. One thing that comes to mind is using the two hands method, but actually popping the card out of the design. That works. There's tons of other things that work. So play around with this, make your own, and if you come up with anything even cooler,